I'm so happy to be here. This is very nice.
Am I remembering correctly? This is your first visit to FanX?
Yes, it is my first visit. I'm not sure what a lot is compared to LeVar Burton, who told me he's been doing them for 29 years. I do not do a lot. So I'm just sort of new to the game about, I think, starting last year.
Yeah, has it been fun?
It has been. It's been a combination of fun and I would say endearing. You know, when you talk to people that have watched what you do and it means something to them and reminds them of something, and you know, it's very endearing. I had a few teary moments yesterday talking to people that had watched me with parents and kids, and it's very rewarding.
That's awesome. Don't forget, guys, we have a mic in the middle. If you have a question about any of Katey's work, feel free to line up and we will get to as many of you as we can over the next 40 minutes, 40, 50, 45 minutes, whatever we got. However long we got. However long you feel like talking. How about that?
All right. That's good.
Well, let's start easy. Your early TV work, I was looking it up and it's like Columbo, the great Peter Falk. You popped up on there.
Yes.
What's he like?
Well, this was the story that my father was a director, and he worked in early television. So he worked on Columbo and Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Dr. Kildare. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember all that, but and at the time when I was a teenager, I didn't really know. I was more of a musician than an actor, so he decided I needed to make sure I would always have health benefits, which I thought was really smart. So he helped me to get a union card by putting me in a few episodes of Columbo. I think I maybe had a line or two. And yes, so I did do, but and then I took a big break from doing all that television work just to be a musician, and then came back to it.
And then you came back to it, Married with Children.
Yes.
Fox, obviously it's Fox show. Because Fox would put anything on the air back then. Just nearly as fast as they would pull anything off.
Absolutely, yes.
But Fox was willing to take risks. That was what made Fox Fox. So how do you get the script for Married with Children, and how does that work?
I get it. I'm kind of a newbie. I haven't done a lot. I had done one series with Mary Tyler Moore that, you know, after my music career didn't quite, you know, sort of stopped and started. And I was seen by Ron Levitt, who's the guy who made Married with Children, and I was asked to come read for it. And I was, you know, to me it was so irreverent, and I was kind of irreverent. So I felt like, oh, this might be a good match. And so I went in and read for it, and once Ed and I were put together, there was a really great chemistry. So we got the job. We got the job. On a network that wasn't really a network yet.
It was a network wannabe. But you could tell the big three were actually afraid, because the way they talked about Fox made it feel like they were like something. They weren't sure yet if it was actually going to work. They're like, but if it works.
We were like the black sheep. And then what they did was, it was interesting because they had such little programming. When Married with Children first came out, they would show us 3 times a night. Because they were sort of, you know, you just had to watch us.
Any idea that the Bundys become the Bundys?
Oh, no. I think we all thought, Ed and Christina and David and I, we all just didn't really think this would go over, because we thought it was so irreverently funny, and we weren't sure that America was quite ready for something like that. And lo and behold, we got way more people writing us saying, oh, my family is just like this. I know, these people live next door to me. And so we were pretty surprised by it. In fact, we didn't even know it was successful till about the 3rd season, when they had sent us out. Finally, they had some money to send us out to promote it. And there's a funny story. Ed and I, we were doing some parade, and I don't even know where we were, and we're in a car going through a parade sort of thing. And everybody was very happy to see us. We were pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I was dressed up as Peg and Al. That's where we were, like in the middle of, I don't know where we were.
That's classic. That's excellent. Did that make it easier to do the show? Just thinking there's no way. So
absolutely.
was there pressure to try to make it succeed, or were you just like, well, that's the network's problem, we're just gonna do this?
Oh, no, yeah, we didn't feel pressure, we just felt, I mean, for me, I know I still had a band and I would play every weekend because I just figured this job would go away. So I better go back to my real gig and make sure that I could play music. So, no, we didn't feel pressure because, you know, it was just so, I think we just all assumed we were the underdogs and, you know, we'll see what happens, and Fox didn't have much else to do, so we kind of felt secure.
It's like, so the question.
Hi.
My question is about smart house, which I love. A lot of those things were so futuristic when you did it, and like half of them at least are real now.
Yeah.
Do you have any do you ever think about that when new things come out and you're like, this is weird? And are you bummed that you're not the voice of COE?
That would be something. No, I did start, there's been sort of a resurgence about that movie. I had more and more people coming up to me and remembering that movie, which, by the way, LeVar Burton directed that movie, in case nobody else.
In between conventions.
Yeah. But LeVar and I saw him on the plane here. I don't think I'd seen him since we did that movie, so that's a fun little fact. Yeah, I think we were prescient. I think that we, you know, without realizing it, I think that, you know, it became the truth. So, yes, and I would have loved to have been the voice of Siri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At least the GPS.
Yeah, we
That would be
need
great.
GPS. That would be good.
That was an option. Download the pic from the pack.
I know. That'd be great.
Sir, thanks for coming. This is actually a two-part question. My first part of the question is, what was it like working with John Ritter on 8 Simple Rules? And do you have a good funny story about him that you can share with us?
Oh, gosh. John Ritter was an angel. I mean, one of the better people I've ever met in my life. And funny, all the time funny. I mean, that job, we would just come to work and his mission was to make us laugh on and off screen. He just loved the joy of making people laugh. He was unbelievably kind and still, you know, it still chokes me up. I feel like, you know, for those of you that have lost anybody, I still feel him around. I just know he's around. And as does Kaylee. Kaylee and him were very, very close. You know, she was 16 and, you know, I think her first big gig, or was she probably working long before I had, but we just absolutely loved him. To think of one John Ritter story is impossible. Oh no, I can tell you one, John. John hated to go to like Emmy events or big, he just was not that guy. He just was like a regular guy, did not like all the attention. So we were at some event, I don't know, maybe it was the People's Choice Awards, and all of a sudden I look around, there's no John, and I'm like, where did John, we had done our thing, where's John? And somebody told me he went out that back door, and I remember seeing him going out the back door, climbing over a fence to hightail it out of there. He just was not somebody, you know, he was much shyer than you would imagine such a funny person would be, and much more reclusive, actually. So he, yeah, I can't say enough about John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He was a master.
Nice to meet you. I was just wanting to ask about the ever Band-Aid of Futurama that we always have, and then it gets ripped off, and then it comes back and ripped off. What has been your favorite Futurama time? Like the original, the movies, Comedy Central, now? Well,
They've all been amazing, and I have to thank the fan base. That's why we keep coming back. Yeah. Because every network, what have we been on 5 networks?
I've even been on networks that don't exist anymore.
Yes, absolutely. And they would cancel it. I think the best time is every time we get picked up again. And we're just sort of like, see?
Voice cast all still on Twitter going.
Yeah, that's it. And now that we're on Hulu, and they keep renewing it. They've just renewed it again. It's just, and it's great. it's really, and I mean it, it's because of the fan base that we keep getting renewed, so thank you.
Is it frustrating when you hear that though? It's like, yeah, we're dancing. Do you think?
Yeah, no, it's funny, because at this point, because we just kind of we never believe it, and we're just sort of waiting and seeing,
How did the first one feel though? I mean, because it had a nice run.
The first one was great. I mean, I got that job. Matt called me. I knew Matt from the early days on Married when he was on the Tracy Ullman show before all this started.
Another great show if none of you are
Yes, because where the Simpsons started. And Matt called me one day and just said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, okay." So it was one of the easier gigs to get in that way because Matt just brought me in and. So yeah, it was wonderful. I had never done, and to this day, I still don't do a lot of voice acting. So it was a very new experience to be with these incredible voice actors. And it still blows my mind when I'm sitting with Billy and he does, 10 voices, and Tress McNeil and DiMaggio and Maurice, and they're so talented and funny. And every once in a while they'll ask me like, "Can you do the voice of some other character?" And I just get so intimidated. I'm like, "No, I don't know," because I basically just do me. So, or me with a higher voice, with a higher pitch, and that's it. So it's been a great experience.
Speaking of voice acting, it sounds like you guys record around the table almost. I mean, a lot of animated stuff, it's this person records their lines through Zoom at home, and this guy goes into his closet and records his, and then they all get pieced together. How do you guys do it?
Well, for me personally, I do not get to go to a lot of the group recordings just because I'm luckily, thank God, doing a lot of other work. So I kind of end up doing that. We do our table reads together basically, and when I can, I get there with the group, but which is quite an experience because everybody is so funny, making jokes the entire time. It's wild. So it takes a long time to record an episode just because of the asides that are going on. But it's really fun, super fun.
Sir?
Yeah, I absolutely love you. I think you're gorgeous. If I hear your name in anything, I will go out of my way to watch it. I was just wondering, what is your favorite role or line? Can you say something from Married with Children? In your voice, any of your, what's your favorite role? Which one do you like?
They're all so different. And, when of course, Peg was, oh, ow.
Yes.
And, Peg was fantastic because I had sort of, it was my first, really big, it turned into a big thing. And then, but I'd always considered myself more dramatic. Like if you ask anybody who was close to me or my husband, I'm not that funny. I mean, I'm sort of funny. I'm funny if you give me something funny to say. But I was really wanting to do more dramatic work. So when Kurt wrote Gemma for me, that was a real kind of, once you're on television as one thing for a very long time, it's very difficult for the people that hire you to think of you as something else. So when FX and Kurt and everybody signed off on Gemma, that was just an amazing opportunity for me. And so there's a different kind of joy having to be able to do that because it was such a departure from what I had done before. And I knew I had the chops, and Kurt knew it. But it was great that everybody else liked it. So it's hard to pick a favorite. They're all so different. I feel blessed to work in any capacity. So
awesome. I was also going to say, well, you just mentioned husband, but I noticed you have a ring on your finger. I was going to say, would you marry this?
You were going to say which what?
Would you marry this? You already mentioned you got a husband.
Take it. Sorry. Thank you.
So it sounds very great. Sons of Anarchy was pretty easy to get to. They just call you up and say, did they want you for this?
Oh, it was a little bit of a, what happens is Kurt wrote me the part. It was written as a very kind of smaller role and submitted it to FX. And, you have to get signed off on by everybody. It's not just my husband writes it and they say yes. It was kind of his first foray in doing his own thing too. So But if it was FX who said, let's make this a bigger role, and let's make this a lot about mother and son. And, you know, thanks to John Landgraf, who he had taken, you know, Michael Chiklis was on The Shield, and Michael Chiklis was known as a certain thing, and just became, like, amazing on The Shield. So, if any of you know about The Shield. And so, I think it was FX that first planted the seed to Kurt to make Gemma a bigger role. And, no, it was a great show of support, and thank God it worked out.
Hi, Katie.
Hi.
So, speaking of sons, kind of like a two-part question, but it's not crazy, guys. It's okay. So, who was your favorite cast member to film with, and what was your favorite scene that you filmed with sons?
Oh boy. Well, I love the days, Charlie would say the same thing, when it was me and Charlie and Maggie. Because those were really, I mean, all the boys were great too, but the boys were a lot. In the best of ways, however, it was a little more chill when it was me and Maggie and Charlie. Some of my favorite scenes were, I mean, I know it's horrible, but you know, the scene where I have to kill Tara, I'm not going to say it was a favorite scene. It was a very emotional scene. We were all in tears, Charlie and Maggie and myself. And so, you know, some of the more fun scenes were when I hit her with a skateboard. That was certainly fun. Fun is a hard word to use with that show. I mean, you know, when Ron beat me up, when ran into, you know, Rollins. I mean, those were tough scenes to shoot. However, as an actor, they were fulfilling scenes to shoot because as an actor, you are being real in an imaginary circumstance, and so you know it was an opportunity to stretch. So I guess that's fun. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Katie. They kind of snagged my Futurama question, so I guess I'll just say, is there a big difference between the early making of it and now? And also, what kind of music genre did you play?
Did I play?
Yeah, just in general.
I started playing blues music. And when I was young, when I was in high school, I had a guitar player friend who taught me about Robert Johnson, who taught me early blues music. So that's kind of where that started. And then I started writing music, which is more sort of Laura Nero. I don't know if anybody knows who that is. Joni Mitchell-ish, you know, that kind of genre. My last couple of records were, I don't know, I'm very influenced by soul music, so I don't know what you'd call it exactly. It's just kind of what I was into.
You have records out for sale?
Oh yeah, I've made
What's the name
records
of the group?
since 1986. I got about 4 or 5 out. There's one called Room. There's one. The first one's called Well, which I wrote the whole record. You can't. It's hard to find. But I think if you go to, I think I have a website. I think you can go there and find it. And then I have one called Covered. I have a few records out. So, but in terms of Futurama, I think it's easier now because I'm not so afraid. Any job gets more fun once you realize, oh, I got the job and they like me, which is true for anybody. So,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Let's talk about your music first. You did a lot of backup work
I did.
early in your career. Let's run some of the names that popped up. True or false? Bob Dylan,
Yes.
Etta James,
Yes. Yes.
Tanya Tucker.
Yes.
You're quite a swath just right there.
Right.
Gene Simmons,
Yes.
Molly Hatchet.
No.
No, that's a lie.
That's a lie. I don't know where it came from. Or maybe I made a living as a background singer. So I was a singer for hire. So a lot of that was road work. Like I was on the road with Etta on and off for a long time. And I almost went out with Bob, but Bob fired me about 2 months before the tour. He fired half the band. I mean, but I always put it on my resume because I definitely stood in the room and sang just like a woman with Bob Dylan. So that was, I was all 18 years old. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Bette Midler.
Yes, I was on the road with Beth for on and off for about 5 years.
It popped up in a couple of her videos too, if I remember. Way back to the video days when they could actually show those things.
I think I'm in a few of those, even though I do look like Ula Hedwig, who is one of the, so it's hard to tell which one it is, but yeah, that was how I made a living. So I might have sung on a Molly Hatchet record and not known it. I know I sang on some Olivia Newton-John records.
That was the last thing on my message.
Yes. Yes.
She seemed like a nice lady.
You know, I never met her. I just sang on her.
That's terrible. That feels like it should be a requirement. You should
I know.
be able to say hello.
Yes.
It's going to be on your record and then go to.
No, it doesn't work that way.
We got to fix that. Yes, sir.
That was part of my question.
I see.
I was going to ask how you sang on his 1978 solo album, how that came about.
Okay, here's my Gene story a little bit. I was a waitress. I was a singing waitress in Los Angeles. This is when I'm like 17, 18 years old. Well, no, it was after my Bob Dylan stint, so like 20. And I worked in this restaurant where you had to audition to get a job. You had to either be able to juggle or sing or play the guitar or whatever. So you'd wait on the table, which I was a terrible waitress. I was the worst. I had a bad attitude. But then I would play my guitar and sing, and I could sing. So people would tip me well and they liked me. So one night, Kiss comes in. This is right on their first tour, and they were in Los Angeles. And Gene was I was who I was waiting on. And so we had a conversation, and things progressed, and you know, he ended up sort of being a date, and yeah. And then what happened was I was in a band at the time. This is so small world, and it turned out he went to college with one of the guys that was in my band. So I took him to my band practice, and he took us to Casablanca Records, and he got us signed. And it was a good band, and so he introduced us to Neil Bogart, and this ended up being like a long friendship for about 4 years. I mean, for me, it was like a huge crush. But if you asked him, he'd probably say, yeah, we were really good friends. But me, you know, he was older than I, you know, he was so great, and he was like the first like sort of grown-up person in the music business that I met that wasn't like a partier. He wasn't that guy. He was just super smart. And so when he did his solo record, we remained friends, and he brought me in to sing on the record. So that's my Gene story. It's a pretty good story.
Everything you just said about him was a lie. That he was a party animal.
No.
Their hotel was always jumping on tour.
No, not at all. He was in fact one of the few musicians of that era that I've ever met that never has taken a drug or a drink. And it was party time, you know, it was the 70s, 80s, man. It was, you know, everybody was doing it. Not Gene. He was straight up.
He has a great PR guy. Oh wait, he's his own PR guy.
He's his own PR, for sure.
Yes, sir.
This is about a recent announcement that happened earlier this year. Did you read or watch One Piece before you accepted the role of Dr. Kiyomi? And if not, have you started it since?
Oh, yeah, here's a great story too. So my husband and my 17-year-old and I just browsing through Netflix, and we happened upon it, had never heard of it. And we could not stop watching it. We just binged it. We loved it. If anybody's not watched One Piece on Netflix, the live action version, it's amazing. Really, really, really great. So I get a call, cut to like, you know, 6 months later or 8 months later, and I get a call to play this role. And my agents hadn't even heard of it. And they called me and said, well, we got this offer for this show. And I was just out of my mind. I was so yes, I have started it. I returned from Cape Town for the first time about 3 weeks ago, and I've already started a few scenes. And I go back in another 3 weeks, and I'll be there till the end of the year doing the rest. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be there. So I'm telling you, you guys got to watch this show. It's great. Oh my gosh, it's this huge show from the manga world, if you're into anime. And I have never heard of it because I don't know about that world. But it is, you know, there's like 1,000 episodes, and it was the #1 international live action show on Netflix last year. And so many people in the United States don't really know about it. It didn't get the publicity it needed because of this pandemic, the strike, I don't know, I was talking to one of the girls on it. There was some reason that it kind of flew under the radar, but internationally, it's huge. And the manga version is, I don't know, it's just like godlike.
You said 1,000 episodes, and I think that's the number I've always heard.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
That's
it's
insane.
really, so I get to play this iconic character in the manga world. I'm very excited.
I guess it's time to go to One Piece.
It is.
Hi.
Hi.
I love hearing about current stuff. Would you tell us about your podcast, Pi?
Oh, so fun. Yes, we have a podcast, my husband Kurt Sutter and I, called Pi. And we just started it. I think we've been on for about 4 months, and we do it from our house. And we decided, we're both somewhat reclusive, but we wanted to meet people that we want to meet. So some celebrities, some not celebrities, and our whole hook is we don't do any research. We know nothing about you, and we try not to talk too much about what we do. Like we've done Rainn Wilson, and we did Dax Shepard, and we did we've had various people that everybody knows about their career. We talk a little bit more about, since we are parents and we're married and we're in this world, so we talk about that. We like to talk to people about their real lives. So we do it from our house, and it's very chill. It's like having a dinner party, but I would sort of like a dinner party. So I would, I know the hook is, we ask all our guests what their favorite pie is, and the last segment is we eat pie, and we ask them why it's their favorite pie, and then we get stories about their history, because a lot of people will say, like Rainn wanted something called mulberry, it was some weird berry that comes from Oregon, not weird, just a... Yes! And we had never heard of it, and we found him that pie, and then he had to, he told us a story about growing up in Oregon, so that was really, that's the kind of the hook, that's why it's called pie. It's people, influences, and experiences. You can get it wherever you get your podcast.
It's pie.
It's pie.
It's pie.
Sorry.
Hi, so you were recently doing a voiceover work for Rhett and Link, throwing feud cubes at that.
Yes.
I was wondering if there was anything like that to look forward to yet.
Oh, I love Rhett and Link. Do you like that? Oh my God, I love it. Kurt and I started watching Good Mythical Morning with our youngest. I mean, probably like from the time she was 10 years old or something. I mean, it's been on forever. So they have become personal friends of ours. Kurt actually wrote a TV show with them they were trying to pitch. Rhett was at our Christmas party last year. So, yes, Rhett called me and asked if I would come in and do an episode of this, and I just did it. So they're new. I'm not quite sure what the show's about, just red and blue, that's all I know. And I did it. They're lovely guys, and their wives, and we know the whole crew. So
Was it essentially Smart House 2.0?
A little bit. Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, it absolutely was. They're great.
You said your husband and you both are kind of introverts, a little bit.
Yeah.
Rhett and Link not.
Not. No, not introverts.
How does that work? How does that work? Do you just let them, and then you just kind of sit back and or?
Well, everybody's different in person. Like, when you meet Rhett and Jesse, that's his wife, at our Christmas party, well, I'll tell you, Link is the quieter one. Link is quieter, in my experience. And Rhett, they're just very nice, funny Southern kids. They're great.
Of the 3 Futurama endings, which one did you like the best, and which one did you think did the best for you?
God, you're gonna have to remind me of those 3 episodes.
The series finale at the last I really liked, but there was one where there's like a restaurant that she was supposed to meet Brian,
Right.
and she shoots the Zilligan stalactites saying how much she liked him. I thought all of them were cute.
Well, most of them are they end with Fran Leela, right? Some sort of love story that's unrequited or requited. I can't choose one. I don't really, and to be perfectly honest, I would have to go back and watch them. There's a lot of episodes. So whatever your favorite is, it'll be my favorite.
I bet there's not 1,000. There might be 1,000 episodes at this point.
I know. Hi.
Do you have any idea when the live action One Piece will come out?
Yeah, it'll come out I think first quarter of 2025. Well, we're shooting it right now. Yeah, I would say probably by May, June of 2025. You think you don't?
That works.
Hi. One of my favorite physical gags from Married with Children is where they're showing how you and Al sleep with your knee up into his back. And so I'm just kind of wondering, did you help influence some of the physical things that you guys did? Did that come to you? Did you kind of story on that?
The main thing I influenced was the way she looked. You know, when I went in for the audition, they had written her to be sort of slovenly and slouchy, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that, because I always felt like the two of them were so at odds with each other. There had to be something hot going on for them to stick together. Not just the fact that they couldn't afford to be divorced, but something else was going on. So I kind of came in all dolled up. I was like, you know, I wore my hair up and tight dresses and completely different than what they thought they were going to get. So I did have an influence in the eventual look of Pink Bundy. A lot of what then happens on any of these shows is that the writers come in with a certain template, and then as the thing develops, the actors and writers sort of have a symbiotic relationship where they're writing to what you're doing, and you're doing what they're writing. So, you know, Ed is such a funny guy, and so it's hard to say what came first. Like if we just happened to do something like that, or they wrote it in. I mean, they were great writers, and so it's hard to know.
Thank you.
Was there ever a moment when the writing room came out and said, just gave you one of those and said, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah, that's a thing now.
I don't know if they would say that so much as it suddenly would show up in a script. And you'd just be like, oh, okay, I like that.
Any that surprised you? Or you thought, no, that will make the cut.
Oh, no,
You're just goofing off.
everything made a cut. Everything made the cut. That show was so much fun to do because they didn't give a shit. They were just like, we're doing, you know, people would try to take us off the air. They were, you know, we had this woman who just really hated us, and she had a big stink about us, and it ended up getting us on the front page of the New York Times because we were so irreverent. And then what we would do is send her flowers every year. She really pissed her off. She was just like, no, my kids can't watch this. And our response was, well, then turn the channel. You don't have to let them watch it.
Keep reminding her that she hates you, so she keeps telling people to love you.
Yeah.
Clever.
Thank you so much for all of your work.
Thank you.
Many of your scenes in Sons of Anarchy Season 2 were very healing for myself and others.
Oh.
My question for you is, do you have a ritual or like a go-to practice before you step into your creative space?
And that's such a good question. I actually do. I'll just say all this because I've said it in lots of things. I'm in recovery for many years. I'm clean and sober about 38 years. My music career a little bit. I had a rough time in my 20s. But so part of being in recovery is that I don't feel in charge of things. I sort of have a spiritual practice that helps me in times of high anxiety and fear. And it's surprising to a lot of people, though I've been doing this a long time, I can get really nervous before I go to do something because I want to do a good thing. So what I do is I let God go in the room before me. That's what I do. And to me, that's what it means to me, which is sort of a big universal spiritual thing. It's not necessarily a religious God that walks in before me, but I have a concept of something that's greater than myself that walks in the room first. And that's what I would say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Kind of two questions for you. One of them is my wife's. From her, she would like to ask, of all your roles, which one do you prefer, comedy, drama, or voice acting? And my personal question is, can you kind of explain how you and Kurt met?
Oh, sure. I would say I like live action more than voice acting. And that's only because it's a new genre for me. I do enjoy it. It's not, to me, I'm more used to full body. You know what I mean? In terms of drama or comedy, it doesn't really matter to me as long as the writing is good. I like good writing. And I've done both. I've done some where it's really a stretch because the writing might be a little bit clunky, so it's hard to either make it funny or sincere. So as long as the writing is good, I love it. And Kurt and I met in a 12-step room. That's where we met.
Did you ever expect, like back in childhood, did you expect to like get this far? Did you like think you'd be an actor?
I didn't think I'd be an actor. I thought I'd be a rock star. I tell my children this all the time because I have 2 of my 3 kids that are in the arts. I don't know what this is, but I always knew I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I just knew it. And if it wasn't music, I had done a little bit of acting. I have no skill set to do anything else. I do not know how to do anything else. And so there was something about that kind of blind faith, and I don't know, I just knew I would land on my feet. So I always tell young people that are wanting to do this, first of all, you have to be a little insane, and you have to be your own advocate, because it's a lot of people telling you no. So I just never believed him. It's like, okay, well, all right, I'll show you. I was told years ago, when I was in my 20s, and my dad would try to help me a little bit, I was told I would never work in television by big casting directors. And this was in the years of Dallas and Dynasty, when everybody kind of had a certain look, and I did not fit the mold. And I just was like, okay, I'll be a musician. And then suddenly this other, when acting opened up for me, it was success is a great revenge. It's people saying things like that. So
you mentioned talking to young actors and young people. One of my wife's favorite movies is Pitch Perfect 2. You work with a lot of young actresses in that, and I don't know how much interaction you had, but there's something. What did you have relationships with them on set at all? You worked with Haley a lot.
I mostly worked with Haley, yeah. Haley was a sweetheart. Haley was, she was really young. I haven't seen her in years. I don't know how, I'm sure she's doing fine.
She's okay.
Yeah, she's doing good. I liked her mom. The thing about working with young actors is you can really tell a lot about the parents, by the parents. Like when I worked with David Faustino, when he was 13 years old, his mom was one of my favorites. And Chrissy's mom, too. So the parents have a lot to do with it, in terms of keeping things right-sized. Because it's very easy for a young person, and we've all seen how many of them blow up, not in a good way. And so there's a real level-headedness that has to come with being a young actor to kind of get through, because you start to believe your own press, and that's not always great.
Did you find it easier to talk to the younger actor or their parent?
Well, Dave and Christy and I always got. Christine is like an old soul, so she and I. She'll call me her mom. So we, mostly. I've had experience with both. Kaylee too and I were very, very close when she was 16, and she's got great parents. I can tell you the other stories, but I'm not going to.
That's fair.
I admire that you're going to keep their confidence.
Yes.
Okay, so in looking at your bio, I noticed that your kids and your pets all seem to be named after characters. So since FanX is all about fandoms, besides excluding any of your own body of work, what would you say that you're the biggest fan of? Are you Star Trek, Harry Potter? What's your fandom, your geek?
What's my geek?
Yeah. Your daughter's name is Esme.
Is that a?
That's from Twilight.
Oh my God! See, we got that name from a J.D. Salinger short story called "For Esme with Love and Squalor," and no, I did not know that. My dogs are all named named after jazz musicians, basically, except for Winston, who's our new dog. And where did we think Winston was from? Oh, it was kind of from a TV show. Now I'm not going to remember what it was. But which one? Not New Girl.
There was a character on New Girl called Winston.
There was?
Yeah.
I don't know where we got Winston, but we did relate it to something.
Ghostbusters.
It's Ghostbusters, right? Yeah.
See, you guys are named my dog.
So you said you're a fan of One Piece. Is that, would you say that's your peak then?
I'm a new fan of One Piece. I've never seen the manga version. I've only
I'm
seen...
not a fan of anime either. Sorry, people. The live action is fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. I guess that's my new geek thing, yeah. They asked me to go to Geek Week because I'm now on One Piece. So I think it opens up a whole different genre. To me, I just love this project.
You're going to be inundated. Once you walk through that geek door, you have no idea what it is.
You're going to be like a beetle.
Wow. Okay. Well, Leela's pretty much like a beetle, I would say.
True.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Forgive me if this question's already been asked, but what is a memorable moment or one of your favorite moments from filming Smart House?
Wow. Let's see. I think what was very fun for me, it was my first gig, I think, after Married with Children. I think I did it right after that. And so that was fun, just to be doing something different. My favorite moment, I don't know. Well, I have a funny moment from when I went to the screening, where at the time my oldest was 4 years old. And so I took her to the screening, 4 or 5. And, you know, Pat is not really nice. And so as she got meaner, my daughter stands up in this small screening room. She stands up, she starts screaming at the thing, "That's not my mom!" And I was like, oh my God, and I had to, get them out of the screening, and it was, it really scared them. They had never heard me speak that way. So, which was really good. Good mommying on most days. Sure.
Sir, hey, thanks for coming.
Sure.
So, what is Penny's last name?
Oh, I have no idea. You mean on Big Bang?
Big Bang, yeah.
I just barely remember that my name was Susan. So, I don't know Penny's last name.
Oh.
Do you?
No, no.
Does anybody know?
I don't think so. Well, besides
They're married, isn't it?
Somebody knows.
somebody knows.
Oh, they did? Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
And what was your favorite song to do on Sons of Anarchy?
There's a lot. Well, I did like Bird on a Wire, and I got a little email from Leonard Cohen after I sang that, which was amazing, that he liked it. And I think probably Bird on a Wire.
You did do a lot of soundtrack work for Sons. Was it nice to be able to marry your two passions?
Oh, totally. I introduced Kurt to our musical director, who's Bob Thiel Jr., who produced all my records. And so it was really great that every season Bob did the music and I got to sing a song every season. So yeah, that was fantastic.
Sir.
Hi. You said you're a musician. You play guitar. What's your guitar brand? What's your favorite?
Gibson.
Me too.
Nice.
Is there another one?
There's a Martin.
Fender.
I just got a little teeny Martin that I do like, a travel Martin. And I'm not a great guitar player, by the way.
Oh, me either. I've been playing for like 20 years, but I'm horrible.
Yeah, me too. But I have a great 1965 Gibson something acoustic. I don't know what it is, but I love it.
Nice. Sounds great. Sounds good. We have about 5 minutes, so if you do have a question, jump up, get in line now before we have to say goodbye.
Oh, here comes
He has a question.
He has a question.
The room captain has a question.
Sons, which is my favorite show. A lot of controversial episodes, really intense. Can you tell me a moment where it was kind of hard to be a character? Because there are a lot of episodes where people have to shut off the TV. So it was really hard to watch, especially a character that I love.
Yeah.
That was really hard for you.
There were a lot. Well, definitely season 2 with Henry Rollins and the rape situation was tough. We were very well prepared. Henry and I were pushed to, those kind of situations are more like choreography. So there was a lot of talk before we did it and a lot of preparation, so I felt safe. That was hard. Also, there was a scene where Clay beats up Gemma, basically. Hard, all hard. And then, of course, the end. I don't want to give it away, but you know, it was not a great, you know, way. It was not a great mother-son moment, is what I'll say.
Was it a lot of rock drumming? Was it easy to work with them, like on those scenes?
Oh no, they were fantastic. First of all, it was a group of, I'll tell you, the boys on the show, they really thought they were bikers. I swear, I used to always joke that, like, if you were in a legal show, would you all be thinking you're lawyers? And I don't think so. But they became very much true to the group. I mean, true to that is. I mean, to this day, I'm sure you've all seen them at cons. They're bros, for sure. And so, and that was a lovely way to work. It was a great way to work.
I have a story about how tight those guys are, but it's not for me to tell.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you something to ask them later.
All right.
Okay. So happy you're here. Peg Bundy, grew up with her, love her so much. She was my favorite. I came in a little late, so I'm sorry if this was asked already. What was your experience on Rebel?
Oh.
I'm so sad that show was canceled because I loved it.
Me too. And I still, to this day, I'm not quite sure why it was canceled.
Amazing.
Yeah, there was a lot of behind the scenes something. But thank you so much for saying that. I absolutely loved doing that. It was the first time that I had my own show. And I was really nervous about it. I was like, okay, you know, up to bat, where can I, and I felt so committed to it and loved the writing. So I'm so glad you liked it. I loved it too.
You were phenomenal.
Oh, thank you so much. I really, I'm trying to get another one. So, fingers crossed. Yes, it was great. It was fantastic. Hi.
Based on your experience so far, would you be willing to come back to FanX in the future?
Absolutely. This place is top of the line. I mean, I've done a few of these, but you know, they have some nice little perks for us back there, I'll tell you.
Do they still have the puppies in the green?
They have puppies in the green. They have gifts and they have, you know, massages. I mean, it's crazy.
And now you know why they're all late to their tables.
That's right. Yesterday I missed like a whole hour because I was getting some sort of treatment, you know, so it was awesome. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question if someone's got one. If not, I would like to thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's great. Thank you for doing this. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the night.